Good evening. Welcome to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at Diablo something. I was waiting for one of you guys to jump in there. I tried to say Diablo and Gamers at Diablo.inet. I'm your host, Flux. I'm joined on the show by Muggs.
Yeah, greetings.
Making his triumphant return.
Greetings.
Fresh off a Mighty Little Pony convention.
Yes, that was a lot of fun with the bronies.
And Nerdbirds.
Hello.
Who's fresh off of nothing.
Nothing. I'm boring.
And Skype had to reinstall Muggs just for this show, or possibly vice versa.
Yes, Skype.
And you claim that the kids don't use Skype anymore, and I said, what IM do they use? And he's like, no one uses IM. We just get on Ventrilo and chat with our bronies.
Exactly, man. That's where everybody goes. And Discord and TeamSpeak and what's the other one?
I don't want to talk to you. I just want to use IM though. I still miss ICQ. Bring it back.
Well, I'll meet you in the news groups later. We can chat.
They're all full of bronies, right? Awesome. Okay, so we are at topics tonight of a little bit about Season 5, as I guess it's getting into Week 3 now. We're talking about, what we've done so far in the season. Is it still fun? Are you still getting character progression? Are you ready to try new builds? Are you ready to come back for Season 6? Power creep versus power leap. Whenever I say power creep, someone immediately says, no, it's power leap. I'm 47 GRs higher this season, which is actually almost the case. People are hitting GR 100 in 4-player parties, which is a bigger number than many of us expected to see. Talk about the damage display a little bit, and botting versus solo experience versus how the power creep is going there, and why it's a big dirty liar because there's not going to be any bonus weekends in season 5, or at least none planned. We'll get into that, and a little bit about set dungeons. That was kind of our last show talking about set dungeons, and it got way more comments than usual. And every single comment was I hate set dungeons. So we seem to have a.
I saw that.
We seem to have found the source of this issue. Usually, if you get a lot more comments on something, it's because you've totally screwed something up. I was checking, did I forget to upload the MP3 or something? And it's no, it's all just everyone jumping in to say how much they hate set dungeons.
Yeah, I remember getting off that podcast and thinking, man, we were maybe a little down on that about set dungeons, and then we get on there and I see the comments oh, okay, maybe not. maybe
comments are all you guys were way too nice about.
Yeah, they were
set dungeons
are on it.
Well, some of them are really just there's no middle ground. Some of them are just stupid easy, and some of them will make you want to tear your face off and throw things at the screen.
Yeah, that was kind of our discussion last week on the show. It was they just don't feel like they're balanced yet. They're kind of half baked. I mean, they're just there's no consistency. Some of them are way too easy and pointless, and some of them are just really obnoxious. Mm-hmm. It just feels like they need another testing cycle.
Oh yeah.
Season 6 had ended to be awesome though, man.
See, I think they're gonna leave set dungeons the way they are. I don't think they're gonna touch them. I really don't.
Why would you really can't mess with perfection, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they could just fix 3 of them, I think it would be good. There's just 3 that just really want to tear your eyeballs out, and the rest of them are kind of whatever. If it takes me 10, 20 tries, I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, at least they're not required to get a really important reward this season or anything. Oh wait. Cannot totally afford. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the little bit of the basic Season 5 stuff. You've been on the show in a while, Muggs. What have you been up to in Season 5? Are you Paragon 2000 yet? How is your season going?
No, I'm not Paragon 2000. I've actually enjoyed this season. I've kind of gone casual, I guess you could say, for me anyway. Done almost no public grouping. I've been pretty much 95% solo. And I've still been able to keep pace to keep myself on the leaderboards, which is, pretty good considering people in groups are still, getting phenomenal XP compared to solo. But I've hit P850 and I was able to do a G77 on my wizard. So, I mean, I got that going for me, which is good.
You're still playing softcore now?
Yeah, I'm still playing. I don't see myself going back to hard.
Because you were hardcore for Season 1 through 3 or something,
I was
right?
hardcore from vanilla to Season 2. Yeah.
And then you had that motorcycle accident that tore off your testicles, right?
I don't see myself going back. It seems like they just keep making the game worse and worse and worse for when you die. In vanilla, you died, you saved up some money. You could usually go to the auction house, get yourself some new gear, and kind of get back to where you were. Season 1 and 2, you were you could stash up some gear and really kind of get your gear back and get to where you're going. Now it's between legendary gems and Caldician's Despair and ancients and perfectly rolled ancients and overrolled ancients. It's I don't look forward to a death. I don't want to start over. I usually get bored before the point I want to start over now.
So usually you're our softcore wizard expert here, Nerdwords, and shots have just been fired.
Shots have been fired.
How are your season going compared to the outsider here?
Amazing, actually. I'm having a lot of fun too. And actually, you've cleared higher than I have, Bugs. I haven't even pushed into the 70s yet. I've done 70, but I haven't pushed any higher yet. But yeah, that's pretty much the same. I know I've kind of talked about my my rush up the last few episodes, but I rushed up real fast and then got our 6-piece real fast, jumped into T6 real fast, and then started hitting greater rips. So you hit that stride a lot faster in the season. But you let in with how are softcore people even playing the game still. I don't know. I don't get bored. I really like the game a lot. Like I'm into it. So I've been grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. I'm Paragon. See, I'm actually lower than you, Mugs. I'm Paragon 695 right now. I'll be 700 hopefully tonight. And yeah, I don't know. It just hasn't.
You were playing all groups previously, right? You don't almost no single player last time we talked.
Yeah, and I've pretty much done the same thing. The only time I do single player is when we're either podcasting or I'm working on other stuff and need to be able to pause it. But I've been playing mostly with groups, and if I don't have a full group, then we'll public the last two, or I'll just run straight public games.
Wow.
And here's Muggs 150 levels ahead of you playing solo.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's saying how much solo sucks for EXP.
Well, that's the.
I think you guys need to fight now.
Well, no. There's the 3 ZDPS, which is 3 0 DPS. So you have a Z Monk, a Z Barb, and a Z Witch Doctor, and you have one Wizard, and you run.
GR 100.
Yeah, basically. I mean, anywhere from the public groups are anywhere from 75 to about 95, really, depending on your gear. And the XP is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
The gameplay is the most boring thing you'll ever do in your life. I mean, the Z-Monks and the Z-Barbs, they're having a little bit of fun because they get to kind of round up mobs and do stuff, but I've gone in there as a wizard, and it's basically hold a button and point at a wall forever. And then move and point at another wall. And then move again and point at another wall. And, that's it. That's the entire essence of the group. And it's the same thing we had last season, and I was hoping we weren't going to have it this season, where it was 3 ZDPS and a damage dealer, and that's how you were going to progress and grind and do all the rest of the stuff. And I really had a lot of hope that it wasn't going to be like that this season, but it's the same thing, and I'm not interested in doing it again. It's just not a lot of fun. I'd rather do low-level stuff with friends and kind of speed through it and have a good time, and everybody's killing stuff and we're just doing stuff than grind out 85s and 90s. So.
But that's where the big EXP comes from.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous amounts of EXP. I mean, like I said, the Botter clan, they're up to 1,700, I think. So.
I thought it's funny they're just the Botter clan. Remember, botting was illegal and Blizzard would ban people for doing it and stuff?
Well, John Yang actually tweeted a congratulations to the Botter clan when they hit G100.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I did a little research on the Botter clan, too, and apparently now I can't prove that they're botting, but they sleep 1 hour a night since the game's been out. They've had 20 hours of downtime.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Legit. Yeah, I looked at their profile.
Hardcore dedication, man.
Yeah, it's not. They might not be botting. You're right. They could just never sleep and eat.
Might just play 23 hours a day.
Yeah,
Maybe they just want to stay online so they get a really good game going and they don't want to lose that seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The magic rift.
Yeah, the magic rift.
Just keep getting it over and over because you get one of those. You put an oscillating fan next to your mouse, and so every time it moves, it clicks the mouse a little bit so you don't get timed out of the game. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
Okay. So getting back to the basic season stuff, how are you guys not getting bored? I was playing a bunch at the start of the season with my Demon Hunter, and I got up to GR 66, and I was sort of sport fucking GR 60s, and I'm like, well, this has really gotten easy. And I was Paragon 450 or something at that point. And I got one little bit of carelessness and died to a Guardian and I think a GR 59. I was 11 minutes ahead of the timer at the Guardian. I got the one that looks like the Flyer. It's the one you never see that much of.
Oh, Aquinodox.
Yeah,
Aquinodox.
Yeah.
He's one you forget is there.
He hurts too.
And he has mortar, and he got me with 2 mortars at once, and that procced me. And I started to run, and I was like, oh yeah, they teleport now. I'm like, I better just chill here. I can kill him pretty easily. And he teleported onto me right when he did his Fire Nova and one-shotted me.
Oh,
so that was my...
yeah, he hurts.
That was my 187 million toughness. I think I had something like that, and hadn't even been below like 80% hit points in like 5 straight rifts. Just so easy this year.
Yeah,
this season. And it was only GR 58. I mean, I had done 67 or 66 and had no problem. I did like 11 minutes. I was like,
you were unlocking.
I was like 400, and my bot was doing really well too. So
yeah, you got to churn your bot up. That'll help.
But I was at like 400th worldwide on the server for Demon Hunters. I mean, I wasn't even close to pushing it, but I wasn't even using the optimized build. I was basically doing a Season 1 build. I was doing Marauders with the ice, just kind of for fun. I hadn't transitioned to the Chakram one. That's the new, more powerful one.
I've seen a lot of them do physical Marauders and ice Marauders in poaching.
Yeah, it was going well. I mean, I was having no problem. I was far from optimized. I had many things not ancient. I hadn't imbued any of my gear for the extra dex bonus or that kind of stuff yet. And I had my gems were like 52, 53, whereas I was doing over 60. So obviously I could easily had 10 more levels of my gems. It was early. I was just kind of getting warmed up, but. Anyway, since I died then, I've been playing. I've been a new Demon Hunter. I had done a Gem of Ease, so I was able to level up again in 45 minutes. And I'm doing Natalia's because I had the whole Nat stat, and it's just very different. It's not as high end with the physical Natalia's, but it's that super fast movement speed, and I have 100% uptime on Fanaticism now, and a Vengeance, and it's fun. It's the whole new build. And as I was doing this, thinking, playing, I've mostly been doing like GR, like GR 40s just to level some gems, and doing a lot of. Torment 7 super fast runs. You can do all 5 bounties in an act in like 6, 7, 8 minutes solo. And so I'm doing that somewhat and doing some shared bounty farming just for the materials. And it's like, this is fun. It's a whole different build. I probably wouldn't have switched to this from Marauders because it's less powerful on the whole than I was doing. But since I died, I had no choice, and it was like it kind of forced me to try a different build than I was playing with, and it's fun changing up. I'm like, if I was softcore and just had the same build forever, I think I'd get really bored with this.
Well, you don't have the same build.
Yeah, I think that's it. You switch around.
So are you guys switching around your builds?
Oh, yeah. I mean, since both of us are playing Wizard, I mean, there's really 2 builds, unfortunately, because Firebirds is broken and they have zero intention of fixing it a la their post.
That's double the builds we had in past
seasons. Yeah, so, I mean, so there's 2. There's your speedrunning build, which is kind of like Talrash's with either Firebirds or Sage's set. I tend to run with Sage's because I like getting the extra death breaths. Yeah.
Sir. I'm doing that literally right now.
Yeah, so like that's the T10 like speed build. Like you sit there, you get a Wand of Woe, you get your Talrash's going, and you kind of run through T10 in about 3 minutes collecting all the loot you decide you want to pick up. And then for pushing, there is actually the Delseers, but then there's 2 versions of Delseers. There's the Channeling Delseers, and there's the Arcane Orbit Delseers. And they're both play differently. So, like, you can kind of... I mean, they still have the same concept where you're like, you have to be in a bubble, and you got to kind of... Everything revolves around... For some reason, I don't understand Blizz and, like... Or, Blizzard, and they're, like, designed for Wizard stuff. They're like... Wizards really like to do a lot of things to make anything happen. So let's make them do everything possible just to do whatever it is they want to do. There's like no easy build. There's no like UE for Wizards where like I could just hit a button.
It sounds really familiar.
So, so it's like you got to get your bubble. But I mean, they kind of play different. And like, and softcore.
It's fun though. It's so much fun.
Softcore, what keeps me going is getting that next Greater Rift. I start getting bored when I can't push anymore, and like I can't do it. So like I did a 73, and then I was like stuck at 74 forever, and then I realized that apparently reading comprehension's a little bit outside my scope, and I was using the wrong slow time. So then I went to the right slow time, and then I was able to do a 74 and a 75, and then I did 76, and then I just did a 77. So it's like that's what really keeps me motivated. Is like, okay, I can push. I feel like I accomplished something. My name's on the leaderboards, and then okay, I just got this new piece of gear, and let me perfect it and try to go in this direction and see how far I can go. I mean, that's really what keeps me going. Other than that, I'd probably get bored. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for the leaderboards, I'd probably get bored.
So having a chance to prove you're better than other people is what keeps you going.
Well, it's like a competition.
Just say yes.
Yeah, sure.
That's why I play hardcore after all.
Yeah, it's better.
It's all about the EP.
Well, and you get the easy leaderboards too.
So what is your except when you die, you lose everything and to start over again. Yeah, Other than that, it's easy. So what keeps you going, Nerdwords?
I mean, normally I would say the same thing, but I actually haven't even like touched leaderboards yet. I've just been grinding and grinding. I don't know. I've grinded a lot harder this season for a lot longer, which is funny because I'm still under where you're at, Muggs, as far as Paragon goes. But I don't know. I just don't get bored with it very easily. Like even if I'm pretty much maxed out with my set right now. Like you said, there's pretty much 2 builds you're going to run: a speed build and a Greater Rift build, and those kind of fall into 2 subcategories of themselves. So, like, I'm running my Tal Rasha's build, and I'll grind for keys, and then I'll jump in and do Greater Rifts, and I'll grind for levels, and I've just been rinsing and repeating that, and I'm just not bored with that yet. Once I do get bored with that, that's when I start pushing solo and start, getting up there. But this is like one of the highest I've been on Paragons, especially this early in a season, so I'm trying to see how far I can push it until I get burnt out, and then once I start burning out, that's when I'll start switching to Greater Rifts and using those Paragons.
What's the highest Greater Rift on Wizards right now? Solo?
87?
Yeah,
I just
80-something. It's 8.
So what is top 100? Like 83 or something? Or
I got it
is there
right
a big
here.
jump at the very top?
See, 86, and it looks like Paragon 1,000 and up is all in the top 10. And then top 1,000, so you have to be 76 to hit the top 1,000 at all. To hit the top 100, it's 80, actually. Yeah, 80. 80 in 13 minutes.
Your work lies ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll
Remember when
ever.
like 40 was high?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I do. I remember when it was a hard. I was just saying this to somebody the other day. I remember when it was like getting the secondary effect on your legendary gem was like, oh man, how the heck am I going to push to get this legendary? I'm like, it's like I really got
to 25.
Yeah, it's like I got to go all the way to 25 and like get this legend. Now people are like, oh yeah, don't do anything unless you're 10 levels above it. Don't even waste your time. That kind of mentality.
Yeah, 11 above it with your Empowered Rift, of course.
Oh yes, yeah, the Empowered Rifts. I forgot.
So what's the highest level Empowered Rift you guys have done, and did you miss the gold?
I don't miss the gold at all. I run with a Boon of the Hoarder and a gold wrap in T10 just because it makes me a god. And
Same.
I think I checked my profile right before I came on, and I've made like 40 billion gold this season or something stupid like that. I've empowered an 70-something, and it was like almost 1 billion gold. So.
Yeah, if you do Empowered all day, you can spend all that gold in like 10
it goes.
rifts.
Yeah,
I won't empower stuff. I mean, I'll empower like an 8. I've empowered an 80 before just because I wanted an extra roll when I wanted to push for it, but normally I don't empower anything above the 60.
Yeah, we were talking about this at the clan chat, in hardcore clans. A lot of guys were still doing just like 25s and 30s and 35s, seeing how expensive they are. They're like, really? They're like only a few million. It's like, once you get to like 40, suddenly it starts really exponentialing.
Oh yeah.
And you get into the 60s, and suddenly you're in like the 100 million range. And then as you say, you get to 80, it's 1 billion. It's just it's crazy how much.
Over 1 billion, yeah.
And at some point, it becomes kind of insane in terms of if you can do the grift in like say 12 minutes, you're basically you're buying like 3 minutes, right? If you get one extra roll for that. 3 or 4 minutes is what in terms of your saving. You cannot pick up 1 billion gold in 3 minutes. I don't give a goddamn what level your Boon of the Hoarder is. You realize it's a wild waste of gold, and yet you say, what the hell, right? If you have the gold that builds up. Yeah,
well, that's just it. I mean, you get so much gold. Like I remember how hard last season it was to get the 50 million gold thing. Like last season, I couldn't.
I got that by accident.
Yeah,
this season,
exactly. I got it by accident. I screenshotted it. I wasn't even paying attention. I just looked down, and I'm at 71 million. I'm like, okay.
Anytime you get a Gilded Baron in T10, if you have like a boon on, you're almost there. I mean,
yeah, that's like 40 million right there.
I think I got it before I even had a boon.
Yeah, the first one I was at like 62 million. I think I got a Gilded Baron just to give me a big drop. But then I was playing a few days later just doing T10s and with, a Boon of the Hoarder on. And it was like, level 48 or something. It was almost 100%.
Yeah.
And I was just routinely, I would look down and be like 26, 28, 30.
Yeah.
And anytime you get a Gilded, you're up to like 65 all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. It's just like, and now your pets pick up gold for you.
I love that. That is one of my favorite things.
Like little Wickermans like charging around, like snatching all the gold up. Like, okay, this is great. Everyone's got a ferret now.
Well, do you remember in the beta, they used to have the scrolls. Remember the gold scrolls?
Yeah, you could buy a little gold pet.
Yeah, and you could buy a little gold pet, and they had like a bunny and a snake and all kinds of stuff, and they would pick up all the gold for you before they actually had gold pickup.
Jay Wilson took it away from us.
Yeah, well, Jay Wilson took all kinds of stuff away from us. But those were fun. That was
generally known as hope and desire. He took away, and my sense of faith in the universe. So, what was your best GR last season, and where are you now? How much higher have you gone with much less optimized gear, much less playtime?
I was 65 is what I topped out at last season, and that's what I'm speed clearing without even considering myself as pushed yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I did a 60 something. I can't remember. Probably mid 60s, somewhere around there, and I'm already at a 77. And I solo farmed 71s in 8 minutes, 9 minutes.
Yeah, I did a 70 in a public group a minute ago in like 5 minutes, and it was me and 3 demon hunters.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. The speeds are just... I mean, I like it this season because the HP's down 40% compared for solo, so it just makes solo that much more like competitive. Like I can do a 71 and relatively compete with XP, versus the people that are going to go into things. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is the power creep, is it more about you're doing more damage, or you have better toughness, or all of the above, or there's new builds that are giving you new powers?
I think a lot of the power creep is well, in solo, a lot of the power creep comes from the fact that the mobs have 40% less HP than they did last season. So that's a big, helps. I mean, that's a huge one. And then, of course, there's the, bigger numbers equal better, so everything's a multiplier, When I'm running my Del Seers, I get 2,000% weapon damage when I'm in my bubble, or things that are in my bubble are hit for 2,000. So, I mean, that just makes, bigger numbers, and then you get to push further.
But are you guys benefiting from toughness and that you can stay alive more in GRs, or it's just the killing power, basically?
It's the exact same thing as it's always been with the Wizard. The only way we survive is APD and Halo, and everything else is fucking retarded.
Yeah.
Like, straight up. Like, we've had the same mitigation for 4 seasons, and I love it because it helps us, but I'd really like another option that's equal or better.
Well, there was a big write-up about why aren't Wizards ranged characters anymore? Because they don't. Like, Demon Hunters are the only ranged characters anymore. And I haven't played a Wizard since Season 2.
We haven't been ranged since Vanilla when the Hydra Blizzard meta was going on.
Well, no, Season 2, Firebirds was still big, and you were Blizzard Hydra.
Yeah, but you were casting Blizzard and running into things and still using Audacity to get the buff.
Oh, yeah.
It was melee range. It's always been melee range because Audacity is the best buff we have, and our only mitigation at the high end is APD and Halo. So we have to go melee range to be able to survive and put out the right amount of damage. Always been that way. And it's weird, but I mean, they find ways to dress it up differently. They dress it up as Archon, or they dress it up as a teleport Taurasha build, or dress it up as, Delcers, but it's always the same kind of build. And it's always very, very they're all multiplier reliant, but Wizard, as you mentioned, you got to stand in certain bubbles and cast a certain thing a certain number of times to get your multipliers just right. It's really, really weird, but it's still fun and has been for years for me. So,
yeah, the Wizard's fun. It's a class for people who like to juggle things. You want to juggle buffs, you want to juggle whatever it is that you want to. It's not a simple class at all. In any way, shape, or form.
To use more than one button, you mean?
Yeah. Last season I played the Monk in U6, or I played the thing, and it was like, you dashing striked, and you kind of punched a little bit, and you 7-sided strike. This one, it's like, for Taurashas, you got to maintain 4 buffs in a rotate. Even though they made it, once you get the 4 going, you can use 2 to keep them going. You still wind up pushing. I feel like I'm playing a fighting game when I play Taurashas. It's like I'm just
it's awesome.
Spamming my buttons. I'm like,
it got so much better with that change.
Yeah, I'm like QWER. Click,
yeah, but you're
you're
constantly alternating, like whether you're hitting fire spell, lightning spell, arcane spell, and you have to track it. Kind of. It used to be a lot harder. Now it's much simpler, but it's still just more interesting than a lot of the other classes. I think that's why I went Wizard.
You don't play in other classes. How do you know?
I've tried them. I tried and failed.
All the way to level 70.
I didn't just stubbornly never play them. I tried and failed and was like, I'm good with what I was doing.
Yeah, the Wizard's definitely it's fun. I mean, I can't complain too much. So I mean, it's fun in that.
Well, you're off the podcast in that case.
I mean, it's just I would like to be arranged. I mean, it was like Firebirds. I wish Firebirds was actually a thing, so I could like just have something else to play. I was actually really interested in Firebirds, which brings me back to when I don't remember if it was John Yang or one of the other guys said, we nerf things on the PTR just to get you guys to play different things, and then we revert them back. And that was a lie, because they nerfed a whole bunch of stuff and they never moved it back. They just
the Death Wish nerf. The Death Wish fix, I should say, because they don't want to call it a nerf or whatever. But yeah,
but they nerfed it. I mean, they nerfed Death Wish, they nerfed the channeling shoulders, then they nerfed Firebirds completely, and then they broke Firebirds. So it's like they just kind of took the only ranged option that you really had out completely. They're like, yeah. this doesn't work. Not only are we going to nerf it, but we're going to make it so it doesn't work at all. And then we're going to give it to you as your set when people are going to drive themselves crazy trying to figure out why the hell the buff doesn't stay up.
So was there a wizard build in the game that uses a Zay's legendary gem?
There was back when Firebirds was a thing in Season 1, but we topped out at 42, I think.
So not since Season 1, basically.
Yeah. So,
which is funny. I mean, as you say, I mean, wizards should be. You'd think they would be ranged class, or at least one of the versions of it.
Yeah.
When they have all these projectile spells, right? You can shoot stuff at a distance.
The problem with the wizard is that all of our projectile spells cost too much and don't do enough damage. In fact, the only projectile spell that we have that's supposed to be really good is Arcane Orb, and we use the melee spinny rune of it because it does more damage and costs less mana. So, all of the ranged spells we have a melee version that does more damage and costs less mana, and also provides mitigation through one of its runes or through a supporting legendary. So it's literally like the wizard has been built for melee. Even with Archon, it was the same way. They changed the audacity buff to 30% to make us stand within 15 yards of all of our enemies. So it's just it's like they've always, I don't think they necessarily have meant to, but the way they've done all the sets has kind of pushed them into melee just because of the way our passives work, which, like I've said for years, if they did another pass on our passives and gave us ranged passives, then we would be in a much better spot.
Well, I mean, it seems like with wizards too, they nerfed them into the ground during the time of CM wizards way back when, and they never brought them back up. They kind of made all these nerfs, and they never fixed anything that they nerfed. So it's they're still in that, they're the only class, and I was really disappointed to find out they're the only class that doesn't have a lawn build that's functional, that can do anything. And lawn is one of those builds that's kind of, for a lot of classes, it should be an end game that you can kind of look forward to. Hey, if I get all these ancient items, I could do this really cool thing and do something different than the set. But it just doesn't work. You just can't do it. It doesn't work.
Well, and I was going to say too, you were mentioning Firebirds earlier. The funny thing is that even though it's not pushing nearly as high as Delstairs, it has cleared 76, which is crazy for Firebirds. But it's still 76 is low now, and that's weird.
Well, obviously, if you want to play a Diablo 3 wizard that has good range skills, you have to go play Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So it's available. It's just in a different Blizzard game. What's the problem?
Well, there's one range class in this game. It's Demon Hunter, and that's it. Actually,
and even the new Demon Hunter build is not a ranged build. Basically.
Here's what I want. I want Wyatt Chang or John Yang or one of the developers, just like they did, where someone was like, "Oh my God, I want a multi-shot set. I want a Blizzard set, or I want a ranged specifically set. I want one of the developers to say that in their heads and make it happen, because that'd be cool.
I want a lawn set. That would be kind of nice. Although next season I'll probably play something different anyway, so we'll see what happens.
Lawn being Legacy of Nightmares.
Yeah, the Legacy of Nightmares set.
Any of our listeners aren't up on all the acronyms.
Yeah, I mean, every class has one or two lawn Legacy of Nightmare builds, which is just no sets whatsoever. You just run legendaries with cool affixes, except for the wizard.
Except for your green rings, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm actually
rolling Witch Doctor
just to do it.
Yes, if you guys tried any of those builds yet, but obviously if you're wizards, I guess the answer is no.
No, I've been saving this stuff for a Witch Doctor, so.
You have plenty of intelligence, I hope. So yeah. There you go. You're pretty smart to do that, right? Did the intelligence puns ever get old in the wizard community? It's you have a lot of intelligence. I have a lot of intelligence too.
Here's another thing that bugs me. As somebody who's been a monk player for a long time, how come there are no armor gems? There's
that's true.
I mean, there's all resist gems, and all the rest of the classes use all resist, and okay, if I need a little bit extra defense, I can one or two diamonds in my gear, and it'll kind of put me over. But my all resist is fine. I'm not going to throw more all resist in there. I'm at 1800 at the lowest on almost everything I have. But my armor is really low. But I'm not going to run 280 strength or 280 dex because that's not worth the slot.
That gives you more armor, though, doesn't it?
Right, but it's not the equivalent. It's not 75 all resist is not 280 armor. Those aren't equal. Those aren't the same. It should be, it should be closer to 500 for one slot. So I was why don't we have an armor gem?
It's just a math problem, though,
Yeah, but that's the kind of stuff that you need that little bit of mitigation to help you push. Just to help.
Well, speaking of mitigation, that's one of the big changes with Demon Hunters. I was mentioning it last podcast, and you can. I mean, in the old days, a couple of seasons ago, you were lucky to get 10, 15 million toughness, and now you can get 170 million. I was looking at my build yesterday with Natalius. I was about 340 million toughness when my Teguk was all the way charged up to 80, and you have full-time fanaticism. I always want to call it fanaticism. Full-time vengeance. I think of the monk from not the monk. What's the other class?
Paladin.
Before the monk, the paladin from D2.
Yeah,
and
like fanaticism is paladin from D2.
And it made you really fast and gave you a damage buff. And that's of course exactly what vengeance does now for the demon hunter. Now that you can use it all the time. But I mean, I'm playing my Natalia's build. I'm using a Bane of the Trapped, and to get the damage buff on things in melee range. So I'm playing my Natalia's build as a melee build now, and just cruising effortlessly through GR50s and that. Of course, which GR50 ain't what it used to be, right? But
No.
in hardcore, that used to be kind of scary, and you would never do that in previous seasons in hardcore, even if you had like all the best 1200 resistance to all, which is a lot for a demon hunter. Obviously, you're not getting resistance for your main stat like a wizard, but now it's like
armor.
I have resistances in like the 600s now, and it's like, and I've got literally like 30 times higher toughness than I ever had with a demon hunter, just because of numerous legendary items that give you these huge multipliers, exponential bonuses to toughness. And that makes a huge difference in hardcore, because obviously dying is a problem. So, I mean, all the buffs, I was asking you guys a minute ago, are you improved by your damage or your toughness or both?
Yeah, all it did was move the bar. So in other words, you can run a 50 and never die, but you go into a 77 or a 78. I was doing a 78 earlier before the servers decided to, take a dump, and shit really hurts. Like, really, really hurt. Like, having to, you teleport on, Q, and, even with, I think, fully buffed up, I'm somewhere in the 600,000. And I can't stand in anything. I gotta, move out of stuff. Frozen's still a big pain in the butt. People will still punch you for a lot of damage. So, mitigation will only take you so far, and eventually you're gonna hit that cap where, it's not helping anymore. For me, it's late 70s.
Well, in every season, the Wizards, especially with our high mobility using Aether Walker, are able to push as high as we possibly can, to the point to where whatever the top build is clearing, they're getting one shot regardless, as long as APD isn't proccing. So, I mean, the problem has never really been mitigation so much, because our mitigation is garbage. We survive on a gimmick, and that gimmick is having 10 or more enemies frost nova around us. As long as we do that, we're safe. We're fine, as long as you're playing your DRs and you're not letting that fall off. But when our damage scales up higher and we can kill them faster, then we're good. Our problem has always been damage until they do something else with our mitigation. Will be, it'll always be damage. And definitely, knowing that our combo, the APD and Halo combo, hasn't changed in a few seasons now, it had to be damage that really...
Well, don't forget they gave you another melee combo in there, too. Explosive Blast, which is, even smaller than Halo, Varleys, and APDs.
Oh, yeah, so with the orb.
Yeah, with the orb, you get a ton of mitigation as long as you hit stuff. So it's that's even smaller. That's 8. It's 6 yards right around you.
Right, and see, I haven't been using that build because I hate Explosive Blast, but I'll eventually have to adhere to it to push. I just haven't started pushing it. I'm still using a ranged demo build because I'm trying to make ranged work. And Obliteration can clear 75, 80 easy. It's cleared 88 on leaderboards on PTR. So, I'm trying to make a range build work, but I just know to actually push, I'm going to have to switch to melee and use orb and blah.
So you're using Obliteration? Do you have, a lot of APOC, or you're running Conduit? How do you make it work?
Astral Presence. Astral Presence and a lot of reduced resource cost reduction. And then I don't use Endless Walk. I use Focus and Restraint, obviously. And then I use Triumvirate and Orb of Infinite Depth. Which, by the way, for those playing the home game, Orb of Infinite Depth is actually a former glitch turned legendary. Because originally in Reaper of Souls, when Frozen Orb... Remember when Frozen Orb was, super powerful? It was when, Reaper first launched. Well, it was powerful because the orb was triggering twice. So they nerfed it, fixed it, and it made the orb completely pointless, and then they just added a legendary that made it hit twice.
Oh, Triumvirate.
The Unstable Scepter.
Oh, Unstable Scepter, that's right. What's a Triumvirate do?
That's the one that makes your signature spells increase the damage of Arcane Orb.
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's the one I'm using.
Up to 200%.
Okay. Use them all. I forget. You're using all 4 of them. Yeah, you got all the builds, all the stuff. Give me everything.
Yeah, basically. So I mean, it's one of those things to where as far as the wizard is concerned and our specific form of mitigation, we could have no health whatsoever. Well, we need to have some. You need to have a high health pool so you don't get one-shotted. But damage is what's going to push us farther until they come up with an alternative like mitigation source for us. Which blood bracers, the new bracers are actually really cool.
Oh yeah, the Ashnagars, yeah.
And they can work at the high level with a support barb, because a bubble barb will actually basically blood bracers increase the potency of your shields.
Yeah, but when you're with a support barb, like when I did a couple 80s just with a group and a support barb and a support monk and a support witch doctor, just for fun. Right. You don't die. I mean, I just sat there and literally, I mean, I wasn't even running an esoteric. I was running a pain enhancer, so I had more attack speed. And I mean, that's all I did. Like, you don't die. You just sit there. And they're going to keep you alive between the permanent ignore pain, the buffs, the damage buffs, the damage debuffs, everything that's going on, the hex and everything else. You're just like, when you get to that point, it's a non-issue. You just sit there and
exactly.
I go flash cannon.
Exactly.
I got a witching hour and everything.
So. Yeah, I mean it works well, and it works well on low difficulty. It works well on super high difficulty with a support barb, but it's not necessary when you're up at that high level. And at the low level, you might as well just use APDs because you're going to be needing it anyway. So it's a cool substitute, but it's not quite as reliable or strong. But yeah, wizards are always going to have that problem until we do something about it.
Yeah, every non-wizard player feels like they just spent 5 minutes at a brony convention. like they heard words and they'd heard them before, but they're not quite sure what any of them meant. And then it's like, hey, it's a rainbow, and I'm
the non-wizard players. I mean, everybody who's watching the game right now is just watching people play wizards. I mean, that's basically season 5 in a nutshell. Last season it was watching static charge monks do their thing. This season it's watch wizards.
Oh, I'm sure everyone's really really tired of hearing me talk about wizards.
Well, that's why we got Mugs on, so you can tag team.
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping...
I got a brother in arms here.
But I was hoping after PTR, this was my... Obviously, people had known about Energy Twister and just didn't do anything, because even the top guys in the top clans that are pushing all the time are purposely said, yeah, we knew about the Energy Twister thing, but we did not push on the PTR because we didn't want it to get nerfed. Yeah. So it was like...
that is a thing that happens every season, because we get... I mean, from CM to the changes to Frozen Orb I was just talking about, we get hit hard and fast, and it happens all the time.
Well, but I was honestly expecting Wizards to be like Arcane Orbit in a group with maybe 2 ZDPS, Wizards doing the AoE damage, and then you bring in the Demon Hunter with the new Shadow Power set and let them do the single target, because they hit for a ton of damage. But it's just it just didn't work out like that. And I was really hoping we would actually see 1 or 2 ZDPS and a bunch of damage dealers in the high end meta, but it just did not work out like that. I hate using that term meta too, so I apologize.
How dare you?
The first of many things you need to apologize for on this podcast. So one last thing on power creep. Is Torment 10 a joke now? I mean, do we need Torment 15 or 20, or is it okay that... I mean, remember Torment 6 was the conversation for a while, and I kept saying we needed more Torments? And we finally got 10, and then immediately afterwards it's hey, let's inflate GRs by 40 levels.
Torment 10 is probably good where it's at, because people can split farm it without too much difficulty, and it's still you still need your full sets to kind of do it. What I would like to see next season, now, if they follow their path of every season we're going to get power creep, then yeah, we're going to need Torment 15.
Power leap.
Yeah, or whatever you want to call it. What I would like to see next season is, instead of, hey, here's a new set, and here's a new this, and here's a new that, just do a rebalance. Go through and go, okay, next season, instead of introducing 10 new sets that are going to make you even stronger and do greater things and let you jump over buildings and you can wear Diablo on your hat, I want to see a rebalance. I want to see them go through and go, okay, here's a bunch of skills that nobody's using or are really underperforming, or again, a wizard Ray of Frost, just do something with that skill. Frozen Orb, do something with that skill. Scorch Orb, do something with that skill. Go through and rebalance things that aren't being used. For monks, take Exploding Palm and be okay, why is everybody using ice? Oh, because it's the strongest. Okay, let's rebalance the other ones and make them do something either interesting or change them or bring everything in line. So maybe Legacy of Nightmares could work for more classes and you get more builds out of it. Go and find those shitty legendaries that nobody's using and change them. Stabs for wizards. There's tons of wizard stabs out there that are just completely useless. Wizard hats, another thing that are completely useless. So it's just kind of go through there and just like find all the crap and like rebalance it and make that season 6, and then we probably won't need a Torment 15 just yet.
I have been saying. I said that when they first said it. That's almost exactly how I felt. I never wanted Torment 10 at all. I wanted Torment 6. I would rather have the Torment difficulties that we have currently stretch out further. Like, rather than, Torment 10 being greater of 45, why not make it greater of 60 and stretch them out in between, right? So, normal difficulty is still greater of 0. Torment 10 is greater if 60 or 50 or whatever you want to do. And then just spread them out differently in between. I've always felt like that would be a better option because you keep adding forever. As long as power creep keeps happening and it keeps getting easier, then you're going to keep adding them. But especially now that it's Torment 10, going to Torment 15 would just be stupid.
Yeah, I'd like to see him remove
stupid.
a bunch. Like, remove X Hard, Expert, Master, Torment 2, remove Torment 2, Torment 3, Torment 4, remove Torment 7 and 8, or, maybe, like, just shrink it. It's just silly. It's like, no, who uses them? I mean, how many people actually use like Master and Expert besides when you're leveling?
Before this season, occasionally.
I was about to say before this season, yeah.
Who even uses? There was some guy in the clan last night trying to get people to join T2 and T3 games, and people were just like staring. I'm like, why would you do that? Like now you just go from like T1 to like T6 as soon as you get your first 6-piece, which is Hadrig's gift to get you like I think like Paragon 20. So yeah, like I don't think I ever played T2 through T5 ever this entire season.
No, it used to be get to T1 as quickly as possible, which last season was still pretty easy because you could do it. Most people just hit 70 and like made sure they were all 70 yellows and they were okay. I'm ready to go for T1, and then you kind of got to T2, and you stayed there for a little bit, and then you went to T6 and then T7, T8. And most people never farmed T10 last season except for like at the very end. Even then, it just wasn't considered efficient. So, I mean, where it's at now, it's actually considered efficient, so I'm okay with it. But they just need to get rid of a lot of the Torments, or a lot of the everythings, Expert, Hard.
Yeah, they could easily just keep, just make every Torment jump up like 7 to 10 levels,
Oh, completely.
So T1 is like, GR, what is it? T1 now is GR10. And then T2 would be like GR, 15, 20, 25, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, something like that, right? Kind of like what it does now, but just more so. But then, of course, everyone's confused. And like, I could do T10 last year. I can only do T5 now. What happened? Like, people think it's like a stealth nerf, No. That's why when they added T7 through 10, they didn't want to change T1 through 6. And they were like, we wanted to make sure that people didn't feel like their characters had gotten weaker.
Well, and that's exactly what they'll do. Then they'll do the same thing. Then they won't change it, and they'll add T15. And then it'll be like, and then people will be complaining, how come we're not in T15? I'm not in T15
probably.
soon
You
enough.
just wonder how, like, what's the point, I mean, currently, you get, like, more stuff. I mean, T10 is good because you get double death breaths, right? So what do you get on T11 then? Like, slightly better chance of double death breath? It's just kind of weird, like...
Triple death breaths? You have a
yeah,
chance
well, that'd be T15, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, it just gets silly. I've always been a big fan of the T6s and the T10s. Well, now this season T10 and the previous T6 because it opened up more interesting builds and like you could do different things and like, hey, I got this crazy speed build or like there's this monk build called the One Punch Monk where you basically just like literally one shot everything. You dash, pop, and it's fun. Like you can't really take that past a 50. Maybe a 55 if you're really like optimized and geared. But it's like there's a ton of builds that you can kind of do. Like you could, even though Legacy of Nightmares for Wizards is shitty, there is a Lightning Legacy of Nightmares build that's shitty still, but you can do it in T10 and like, and make it work, and be somewhat viable. And there's like 2 or 3 Talrash's builds that work in T10. And there's like Firebird still works obviously in T10. And like, I don't think you'd ever use Veers, but you could kind of go in those ways and like all the sets kind of work in T10. So it's kind of like that base balance point, like let's make it work so people can play what they want and do what they want. Cause I still have a lot of friends I have a friend that I play with regularly. I mean, he's P700, and he's only played T10. He's like barely got in any rifts besides the level of gem. He's got in there a couple times the level gems, and that's it. And he likes it because he's like, I can play this, I can play that, I can do whatever I want, and I can have a good time. And I like that aspect of it.
Well, there you go. Problem solved. Okay, so next topic, damage display. This was a thing I meant to get to last week's podcast. I never got around to it. Obviously, the Blizzard posted this whole blog about how they changed it. You get the entire numbers, and it was like, how many decimal places is that? It was hard to count them. You start getting billions, and you couldn't tell if it was a 1 million or a 1 billion or a 10 billion. You had to count the numbers. And now it's just like, this whole thing about localization, which I don't want to get into because who cares. But it's like we can't just put B because some countries they count like a billion is a trillion in some countries, and other ones a trillion is a billion. It's like, yeah, very confusing.
But they changed the languages in other countries. Why can't they change the numbers in other countries?
Because of numbers. Remember how we couldn't get commas in the auction house for 2.5 years?
and then we did right before they removed it.
Yeah, and then it was gone. So that was all I thought of when reading this whole write-up. It's like, yeah, it's commas and periods, and like some countries there's like 4 digits between the commas, and other ones there's 3, and I don't understand. Numbers are hard. Numbers, how do they work? There's too many of them, for one thing. But anyway, do you guys like the new damage display? It's less spammy. You get, 1421M now instead of a billion kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I still would like a B. I personally still would like to see, 10 billion or 100 billion or 140 billion.
Billions are different in other countries, so we can't have nice things.
Well, but they have...
No, it has to be the same way everywhere.
They have language packs. Why can't they just have a number pack that goes with the language pack? I mean, people
No me gusta, por favor.
But yeah, I mean, I would still prefer but I like it better. It's much easier. When I hit for 130 billion on a major crit, it's like I can see 130. I can tell, okay, it's 130 and 3 more numbers. I'm like, okay, that's what I hit for. So it's like
sometimes it's orange too.
I like the orange. I really do like the orange, but and I have all the white numbers turned off, so I only see crits. So, I mean, I like it.
What else is there?
Huh?
What else is there?
That's just white numbers? Well, yeah, there's all kinds of white.
Your gear must suck if you see white numbers, man.
You only crit 60% of the time.
Oh, you're not Demon Hunter. Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, yeah. So, but I mean, I like it. Yeah, I really do like it. I think it's great.
You like the improvement of those nerd words? You agree with his?
I think they're beautiful. I think that they are a glory unto man. I love the UI changes, like not just but like just everything with the UI that they did really, really helped a lot, especially as a wizard, because we always have problems with our UI. So it's been we needed to function off of a lot more information than a lot of other classes do, so it's definitely helped gameplay for the wizard this season, absolutely.
Well, luckily you have higher intelligence than other classes.
Exactly.
So you can deal with it.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, even last season as a monk, when you'd run Annas and you'd have 4 of your buffs on the bar, and like they would take up everything, and you're like, God damn it. Yeah. It's like, and they would knock everything off, and you'd never be able to see your focus and restraint. Like, yeah, the UI this season is much improved.
On point, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been prettier. They could have still done it better. I was just complaining. I play on a 27-inch monitor. I know, first world problems, but I would like a scalable UI. Like, I want to make my UI slightly bigger because I have to like actually look down to see like my arcane dynamo or my focus and restraint, as opposed to like having it where I want. So I still want a modular UI or a scalable UI. Those are 2 things I'd really like to see in D3 eventually.
Do you guys like the new giant pointer arrow, or do you use a fluorescent pink one in your mod? I
haven't noticed it. I mean, like, I noticed it obviously, but it hasn't really been like that big of a deal. I didn't. I mean, you always have. You still have moments where you lose it. I feel like it's less frequent, so that's positive.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. If I really need to, and if I'm like running in a group and there's a bunch of like spam and stuff going on, I'll turn on YOLO mouse, which is the pretty colored one, so I can always find it. But like for normal play, yeah, it's helped a lot. But in groups, it still disappears pretty easily.
I posted that article about the damage display numbers popping up, and I might basically said I think the system is broken, and then people were like, broken? I'm like, well, okay, obviously it works. I mean, you see numbers, but I don't think those numbers convey any valuable meaning because there's just so many damage numbers going on at all times. Mm-hmm. I mean, the numbers pop up and they look cool. I like that they're not all decimal places, as they used to be, but I don't get any sense of if they just give you like 5 seconds of the numbers and you weren't actually playing through a whole rift or whatever, you would have no idea if your character was stronger or weaker than they were with your previous gear, because you don't see enough numbers and they're not representative of the overall system. So I was just saying we need a DPS meter. I mean, everyone says they don't want that because WoW, and people would like not let you in guilds, not let you in the group.
Nobody says they don't want that. The only people that said they don't want that is the devs. Every other person has come out and flat out said they'd want it. I mean,
there are always commenters who say, I don't want people using this like as a requirement. You can't be in our group unless you're at least 2 million or whatever.
For those who are living in the dark and don't know about the massive cheating program that you can install into Diablo 3, that's an overlay. That's one of the bigger draws to it, is it gives you XP an hour and your damage per second and the damage of your group. So it's like, it's there, it just Blizzard doesn't want to use it. It also has a map hack in there, which I think is unbelievably cheaty, but that's another thing altogether.
So would you guys be in favor of a DPS meter in the game?
Yes.
I mean, I thought everybody would, but there were a lot of comments on that thread saying, "Oh, we don't need this."
I actually played World of Warcraft for a long time and still play every so often. And one of my favorite aspects of the game was the ability to edit your UI and make changes to it. I think that would be really cool for Diablo. I think that they've never had it in Diablo, so I would be interested just to see how they would implement it. But I would absolutely love the ability to customize my UI more. But I mean, I'm not exactly clamoring for it. I'm good with the way things are. But man, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd like a DPS meter. I think it would help. I mean, it's definitely or like, just so you can test things.
More information is never bad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, to reiterate what Jay Wilson said way back in the day, we want to make a game that you can just sit down and play. You're never going to have to go to a website to find out what builds work and how things go. And yeah, we all saw how that went. So more information.
Yeah, when I was changing. Early in the season, I was changing a lot of stuff and trying out my build without looking up just what the guide is. Here's how you should do this build because, thinking is hard.
Yeah.
I was like trying and, using different gear, switching around legendary gems constantly. And the only sense you had of it was, okay, I'll do a GR50 again with one different gem and see how my performance feels. And obviously GRs are nice because you actually get a little timer that tells you how long it took. You don't have to keep track of it yourself. Okay, the last one took me, 430. This one took me 350. Obviously, this is much better improvement.
Yeah, but that's not a good metric because the RNG that comes with...
Yeah, the numbers can vary a lot. Obviously, the monsters.
Well, the monster, the map, everything.
That's why I want a DPS meter because, the pop-up numbers aren't telling me shit.
No, I'm 100% with you. Give me more information. If you don't want it, put it in like... What did they hell? Elective mode. And make it hide it in there.
Put it right underneath that thing. Yeah.
Yeah, put it under elective mode and you don't check that box and the people don't have to see it. That's just where it needs to go. So
why will we never get it?
We'll never get it. I don't think we'll get it.
Why don't we get it? Why does Blizzard refuse to give us what we want?
Because Blizzard, I still think the devs think we're idiots. I mean, I really, really do. Like when I read the thing about...
Are they wrong to think this?
No, but I mean...
You've been on the internet, dude, right?
Yeah. But it's
what is the internet?
But they come out like when they said, okay, we're not going to get any bounty weekends or double bounty week. We're most likely not going to get any double bounty weekends. It's like you read this whole long post and like you can see that he's like trying to sound altruistic and like, come across as like this caring and understanding individual, but it just seems so condescending. Like every time they write to us, I feel like a first grader and like, the teacher's just calling you, just shut up and do what I'm telling you to do. It's like that's just how they come across. So like they don't want it, so we're not going to get it. That's just the way it's going to be.
Do we deserve it?
I mean, give the players what they want. I mean, it's one of those things. If the players want it and there's enough people that want it, then put it in there and just turn it off for most players like they did for elective mode. Like, okay, fine, we'll let you move your stuff around, but we're going to make it hard. We're going to bury it in this thing, and we're going to call it elective mode.
Yeah, we'll hide the interface.
Yeah, we're going to hide it. And then, the people who have been playing for a year are going to be like, what, I can move those things around? Really? I don't have to put... these things, I can actually run more of the same thing. Oh, wow. How did you do that? I still see
that question all the time.
Yeah, that comes up constantly. Whenever I read a long thread on BNet about some build, someone will always say, how do you have two skills from, this tree in your build at the same time? That's not possible. You can only have one from each grouping. It's like, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, elective mode.
Can you imagine, too, those people that have been playing for a long time that finally change it, like the look on their face or how they feel when they figure it out? They're like,
why did they hide this from me?
Yeah.
Why is it even an option? I mean, it's not even why did they hide this from me. Why is this even an option? Like, why would you even turn this off? Like,
because consoles only have 6 buttons. That was the argument forever. It was all consoles' fault.
Yes. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so we all went DPS, and it'll be in the game by next week with any luck.
Yeah.
So you're mentioning botting earlier and the whole solo versus party EXP. That was one of the big changes this season, and Nerdwords was a big advocate for that because in past seasons he was like, you were talking about how the damage compared. It was like 50 times the DPS if you're playing in a big group.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't the case much early in the season. It's only like 3 or 4 times, but now people are getting into such higher GRs.
Yeah.
Even though they've nerfed all the EXP gear, that used to be the huge difference. Just if you can speed run, a 90 versus grinding out a 70 solo, that makes a fantastic difference. Is that what the real difference is in XP and groups and solo now?
Yes. Yeah, and it all comes down to one item too. It all comes down to the energy twister sword. If that sword wasn't in the game, we wouldn't have the people pushing as far as they do. It's whenever you give people an item that can infinitely scale, you're going to run into a situation where you just let that person do what they need to. But yeah, so for the most part, people, unless you're a crusader, you're farming. Most people are probably solo farming right around 70. 70, 71.
And Crusaders are like at 45 or something?
No, Crusaders are like 78, 80. Like they can. It's just the way their build works. I mean, talk about boring, but it's just the way their build works. Where they just kind of run around in a circle and barrels fall from the sky and kill things. They can solo farm 80s. Up 78, 79, 75s. Like they're the highest solo farming class.
I don't like when there's the version of the game where I can't make fun of Crusaders.
Yeah, no, they're not in groups. They still suck in groups. If that makes you feel better.
Okay, well, it does. Actually, I do feel a little better. Yeah,
but
so they can be powerful, but they're all alone and sad.
Yeah, exactly. They have to go play by themselves on the playground.
Seems a fair trade. And they still look dopey, right? And they have to wear stupid shields.
Yes, they still have a lot of stupid shields. But yeah, I mean the difference is a lot better than it was. But the people who are pushing and the people that are grouped constantly are just able to push and group and do more. The average person that groups all the time is probably in the thousands. The average soloer is probably 600 to 800, somewhere around there. And then the people who bought are in the
1700 apparently.
Yeah, 17 something.
Well, and you got to keep in mind too that the people who bought aren't pushing right now. I mean, even if they are pushing, they're not pushing. Like their push is going to come way later.
Oh no, they're pushing. I mean, they're like right now. The big thing is do a 98 and don't kill the Rift Guardian. So that's what they do. They just go through. They kill all the mobs. They get to the Rift Guardian spawns. They leave the Rift.
Right.
And
they
just to farm XP. So. Which is another thing. Well, I mean, because they bought all day, they don't have to worry about getting mats and gear and stuff, so they have all that stuff all waiting for them, so they can just go and kind of push for maximized XP when they actually need to play, because the bots can't do that.
Pretty sad. I can still make fun of Crusaders, though, right?
Yes, you can still make fun of Crusaders.
Okay, awesome. So, we mentioned this earlier briefly, and Wyatt gave one of you a sad, saying no bonus weekends are planned for S5. And of course, people were like, my news post, I'm like, this is bullshit. They're not gonna, they just don't want to tell us in advance because these are a big advantage. I recall before the season or the first week of it, like the entire podcast was like Nerdwords and some other guests were like, I just can't wait for the double experience, for the double materials weekend. I'm just waiting for that weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Wyatt heard that and was like, okay, we're not going to announce it because people will just like, they don't want us planning our whole season on a double, one double weekend bonus that'll give you a huge advantage on everybody else. But as they say, none planned, that doesn't mean they're not going to have any. They're just not going to announce it right now.
Yeah, that wording was
I'll point out, anybody who owns a calendar will note that March 15, 2012 was Diablo 3's release date. That there will be a March 15th within this season, I'm pretty sure, right? We all have calendars that tell us that much.
Yes.
They're going to have a bonus around the game's anniversary, okay?
Well, it might not be a double mats bonus.
Well, no, probably not, unless Kanai dies again, right? So, okay, too soon. Unless another developer dies, they have to make a memorial item named after him. So Wilson weekend coming up pretty soon.
Jay Wilson.
Double. They're going to take everything and double it, right?
That would be great. Yeah, double XP, double it. Hey.
Would that be great because of the bonus or because Jay Wilson would be dead?
That's awful.
I don't want anybody to die. Yeah.
Okay, we don't actually want Jay Wilson dead now. He's no longer on Diablo 3.
I don't want anybody to die.
He's not working on Diablo 3 though, so it wouldn't do us any good, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't. I mean, as much as I don't like what he said and I don't like what he did, I don't want him dead for it. I don't think that's worthy of death.
That was very altruistic.
Okay, if Bobby Kotick dying though, right?
Yeah.
Like if he was hit by a blimp or something.
Well, Bounty
hit by a blimp.
Well, he's got pretty gold-plated blimp tower that he's been on.
Gold-plated blimp tower.
Blimping ain't easy, man. So anyway, so obviously there's going to be some kind of a bonus buff in the weekend of March 15th because that's the anniversary of the game. But they're not going to make it like the second weekend of the season because, as they pointed out, if somebody misses that, then you're like 1,000 materials behind everybody else, right? So,
well, yeah. I mean, last season I did bounties and I didn't even go crazy. I just kind of did them for a couple hours on Saturday and Sunday, and I didn't have to do any for the rest of the season. I was done.
And that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah, and I really want that this season because I really hate, even when you get 10, in T10, bounties are they're just so boring. They just literally suck the life out of you. They're just, it's just there's nothing interesting about it. It's not even I'm like rifts. It's you get that sense of progression. You're kind of moving along. Bounties are just just a throwback to just kill me. Just kill me. I can do maybe 4.
It's like Diablo 2 all over again.
It's not even Diablo 2. I enjoyed Diablo 2. Bounties just suck the life out of me. I don't know what it is.
See, I don't know. I don't mind.
Little red pit ones are more fun now.
You know what they need to add? Not to cut you off. They need to add a bounty mats goblin. I want a goblin that I can kill.
That would be. But see, then no one ever run bounties and just farm that goblin.
Well, you don't have to give me 10 out of a bounty mats. Maybe give me 1 of each or 2 of each. So today I ran out of mats because I was re-rolling stuff, and then I realized I didn't have something in the cube. And I'm like,
yeah, I've had that happen before.
So
here's one better. Here's one better. I finally found a twister sword. Okay, brief story. Finally found a twister sword. Was running with my group, and I was running an orbit build. So I was like, I'll switch, twister now that I've got a sword. It's not ancient, but it's at least a twister sword, and I can try it out. So I crafted a couple sets of Reaper's Wraps to get my Reaper's Wraps set up because I had a barb in the group and a monk in the group. And then go to cube it, and I used all my mats making my damn Reaper's Wraps, so I didn't have the mats to cube my Reaper's Wraps or my Twister Sword. So I was like, well, never mind. I guess I'm just gonna do nothing.
Yeah, I mean that's just the way. Bounty is just and then if you need that one mat or some idiot turns it in wrong and messes up the whole rotation for everybody.
I have hate in my heart for those people.
Yeah, it's oops, or they didn't even mean to because you come out of a portal in Act 3 and Tyrael is 3 inches from the damn portal, so you can accidentally click it. We've all been there too. So it's just I don't know. It's the whole thing just kind of just drives me a little bit crazy.
See, I really, really like bounties, actually. I am on the opposite side of that. I mean, I don't think that, they're the best thing in the world, but, I kind of, I take moments where I take some time and just do a round of bounties, just to I'm almost out of crafting mats. I learned my lesson from doing that thing before, so I try to keep at least 4 or 5 of them on me at all times. If I start running low, I'll do a quick run with my friends, and usually only takes 20 or 30 minutes or so, and then I'm good.
See, if you got a group, it's not that bad, but it's finding a group and doing all.
Public bounties are not the most fun way to play public games. I can do rifts just fine and greater rifts just fine, but public bounties, you're right, are not great because it really relies on somebody to not be a damn moron. God, it drives me crazy. It's not even that hard to just read your damn map.
But Bounty Goblin, come on, Bounty Mat Goblin, let's go for it.
I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't love it, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
I still think they should give you some bonus if you do every bounty in the same game. I mean, that's not that uncommon now because you need all the acts, but
well, you do. You get double mats if you do every bounty in the same game. You get 10 mats, for each thing.
Well, if you're on T10, sure.
Well, or 8 if you're on T7. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, people do that anyway, but I mean, we always talk about it. The funny thing I have this season is because at the start of the year, I did a bunch. People were doing more Act 1s because trying to get a Rourke just in the early going, it was nice to have one.
Mm-hmm.
And which I amazingly have not found. I found a Rourke finally yesterday. I'm P650.
Wow.
My first Rourke of the season. I found 9 Ramalandi's gifts, and I finally found a Ring of Royal Grandchild.
That's another. Did they buff the gift drop?
I have 7 right now. I'm with you.
Yeah, I found at least 9. I'm out of 10.
Well, keep in mind though, we've also done about the amount of rifting we did the entire season last season already. No,
but I did not have this many. I mean,
really, even last season?
Yeah, I mean, I topped out last season around P960. I'm at 850. I've had close to 20, easily.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've been giving them away. I'm I have 9 in my bag, and I've used them on I'm ooh, let me go try this build. Oh, I've got a gift. Let me just gift this thing and let me see how it works.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I definitely. I mean, it's cool because it's definitely a necessity. You know, it's one of those things that like you have to have. Like if you get an ancient weapon, like you have to gift it. It's like it's not the same if you don't. So it's cool that if they did do that. So I appreciate that.
I have noticed an increase in those as well, though.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Flux.
Yeah, I ended up with a bunch more Act 1 materials. So I had like 50 Act 1 materials and like 5 or 10 of the others. Because people kept doing split farming in Act 1 early on. And now every game when I start it, I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to do a couple of rifts. Maybe I'll do a couple of bounties. And it's always Act 1 bonus act to start with. Like, they just know somehow.
Mm-hmm. Like,
if this was Act 2, 3, 4, or 5, I would do that one just to get the bonus because I need those other materials more. But I don't want to wade through another Act 1 when I don't need it anymore.
Well, it changes every hour. So it's whatever time you're getting on.
Whatever time I get on, it's always Act 1 time. That's what time it is. You know what time it is? It's time for fucking Act 1 again. Like, you'll do like 10 rifts, and it's like, check it again, it's still Act 1. It's like, God damn it. You know, you leave it, come back in. And I'm sure the second I log off, it's Act 3, but, you know, whenever I'm on there, it's always Act 1. Somehow it just works out that way. They taunt me, my precious. So, yeah, some of you like bounties, some of you don't. I don't really like them, but sometimes it is a little change of pace. I do like the little red miniature dungeon ones now. And those seem like they are always like 5 feet from the waypoint. I don't know if there's a feature or a bug on that or something, but I've had multiple of those when I'll do it. You know, it's always like, you know, King Leoric's Revenge, whatever the hell it's called. And you go in there and you got to kill the fallen shamans or kill the 3 little. I
mean, they have made the bounties better too. Like it used to be like, go here, go find the level 2 in this Act 3.
Yeah, now you get an arrow immediately.
Yeah, now you get the idiot arrow like right off the bat, and it's like, and they've made them much smaller. Like they're much quicker. So
of course, I always get the idiot arrow one, and it's like the Ruins of Sescheron, and it doesn't even really help you because there's such a goddamn maze.
Yeah, Ruins of Sescheron just
like it'll point down to the right. You got to go way over to the left, like 50 screens, and loop back around or something. It sometimes doesn't even really help, but usually it is pretty handy that way. But last thing, set dungeons. That was a topic on last podcast, and as you mentioned earlier, I posted, you know, that post went live and had way more comments than usual immediately, and I'm like, oh, maybe someone was defending set dungeons. And as you said, Nerdwords, you looked at it, and everyone's like, we hate them even more than you do. You guys were too nice.
Yeah, everyone said we were too soft on them. And I was just like, what? Okay. I felt bad. I was like, oh, I kind of ripped those apart. They're really not that bad. So I really don't hate them. I mean, I think that they're cool. I think that they're like, you know, a different way to play and stuff.
No, you hate them. Hate them all.
I just hate that they're in the journey.
Well, the problem is they run the gamut from like fun and exciting. You know, like some of them are like, hey, this really encompasses what it is to play this set, to this is the most tedious thing that you're ever going to do in your life, and you're going to want to tear your eyes out. Like, I don't know if you guys have done the bar.
Which one is fun and exciting? I just want to know in advance.
Like the Innis, well, the Innis one wasn't that great. The Veers one wasn't bad. I like the Veers one. The Firebird one wasn't too. The Talrasha one.
The Firebird one's a bitch.
Yeah, I finished. I mastered that one. The Talrasha one was kind of fun.
Well, I mastered them all, but they're still a bitch.
The monk one, the U6 one, the Uliana 6-piece was just like, just kill me. Just absolutely kill me now.
You should have played hardcore, man. You had that option.
Yeah, the Raiment one was a lot of fun. Like the Raiment 6-piece set was actually a lot of fun because it was all about dashing strike and killing as quickly as possible and trying to finish this rift and get to this chest at the end of the rift in an amount of time, and then looping back and killing everything that you left alive. So you had to get to the chest within 2 minutes and then come back and like kill everything. So that was a lot of fun. The IK one for the barbs was fun. The leap one for the barbs was kind of fun. The waste one for the barbs I still haven't mastered. It's rend 30 mobs and don't get hit by anything physical. That's in the Ruins of Sescheron, and by the way, there's traps everywhere, and they're going to hit you with physical, and there's no physical immune amulet. So, like, have fun, like, just clawing your eyes out.
That sounds like
so I was going to say, if you just did 8 of them to get the conquest and never touch them again, but apparently you've done more than 8.
Oh, yeah, no, did
you lose a bet or something?
No, I just wanted to see if I could do it. Like, some of them are challenging. Like, some of them are like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I can do, like, Firebirds was one of those ones where it's like, it's annoying, but it's like, at the same time, it's like, okay, it's challenging, and I can do this. Like,
yeah, it's within the realm of possibility.
Right. Like, you're like, I can feel this. Like, I can do this. Like, you do it a couple times, you're like, okay, I got this. I can get this done. And then you have something like Del Sears.
Yeah.
Which is just like,
so buggy right now.
Which is just like, Are you kidding me? I mean, are you absolutely... Okay, I got 29 mobs, and there was like one mob on the edge, but I can't put a bubble back over them because I already got those.
Yeah, because now all of those have already counted, so now you'll get one next time. Yeah, it's stupid. It's so dumb. But I also understand why, because you could totally cheese it like somebody's certain stupid video did, so...
Yeah, Quinn's video.
Blame streamers.
Yeah, but
Hashtag
no, I mean...
streamers.
But some of them are just unbelievable. Uliana 6-piece was one of those ones that probably took me 30 times. The waste set for barbs, I still haven't finished, and the Delseers for wizards, I still haven't finished. And it's not because they're just tedious. It's not like you don't get a sense of accomplishment where like you're like, okay, I can do this next time, or I've got it close. It's like you're fighting the RNG of the mob layout with the RNG of like the map stays the same, but like the mobs are all over the different. So you're like, come on. I mean, just like they should have just made the mob spawns the same, and I think it would have made it a lot easier too.
Real quick for you and for anybody listening who's having trouble with Delseers, don't listen to the stupid guide videos because they're not right. The way you do it is every single time you load up the Delseers dungeon, there are 3 separate mob packs that are randomized throughout that will have 30 mobs. They're usually a pack of the little skitterer bugs and then another pack of big mobs. And it'll be every time. The only problem is that your placement has to be perfect. So if you miss your placement, restart the dungeon.
Yeah. Oh, and for those who don't know, you can bring a friend.
Yeah.
To a lot of the dungeons, and those make it, which is another thing that really bugs me. It's like, hey, we're going to make these dungeons, we're going to make them really stupid, really annoying. But by the way, if you bring a friend, it's going to make them ridiculous. Like the Marauder 6-piece. Where it's like place a turret and then kill everything. So you place a turret in the beginning and your friends go through and kill everything in the dungeon. Yeah, come on. It's like...
And then they don't even have to be demon hunters.
Yeah.
You can let any other random person in?
Yeah, anybody. It doesn't matter. As long as they're not wearing a Marauder 6-piece. They're not the ones.
You know why they changed that though, right?
Why?
They said that originally it was a solo experience. They didn't want to have it like that, but because of console play, and if you got a group of friends, you guys are playing, couch co-op, it seems really, really bad game design to say, okay, now you guys watch me play for 3 hours. So they wanted it to be where you could seamlessly drop in and drop out, and you didn't have to do it together, but if you wanted to, you and your friends could do it.
Yeah, because that makes some of them just ridiculously easy.
It does. It totally does. But I understand why, because they don't want to hurt the game experience. And if it makes one or two dungeons a little cheesy, then so be it.
Well, no, it makes all. You can cheese all of them. Well,
yeah, no, you can, but a lot of them don't matter. Like Delseers doesn't matter if you bring in more. It's not going to matter. Like the challenge.
You could bring in a Z monk and have them group everything up for you and drop your bubbles.
You could just run Black Hole and profit, sir. Trust me, it helps. Run Black Hole with your slow time, and you'll get it first try.
If I'm feeling suicidal, I might give it a try later.
So once again, console is to blame for all of Diablo 3's problems. Because we've covered that. So I had researched the 4 Demon Hunter dungeons before last week's podcast, so I could talk about them with some knowledge. I have not been in one since. I researched it. I talked about it on the podcast. I only finished 2 of them. I don't care about the others. I'm never going to go in them again. And so that was it. I'm done. I don't care. I might eventually do like in one other class, so I can get the conquest for that. But in the meantime, I don't care. I've not touched them again. So are you guys ever going to do them again after you finish them once? Like, is there like nostalgia?
No. Well, if I get the wings, I want the wings. After I get the wings, I don't care.
Whenever I can earn things to get them, I will do them. That's pretty much it.
I will never do them again. Like if I just want the big green.
Well, I mean, like if
really
next
cool
season, if I get a different kind of wings or portrait, or if it's a part of the seasonal journey, then of course I'll do them again. That's the only reason why I would.
What if they were like 10 times experience bonuses while you're in them? Like it was like doing like GR 100 in terms of experience.
Well, then I would just do them and kill everything, and I wouldn't actually complete them. I could go through and kill the mobs without actually completing the dungeon.
You only get the experience if you actually finish the dungeon. It's like a big bonus.
Well, then you just do the easy dungeons. You go in there like IK or Dashing Strike. Like the IK dungeon is like a joke. Like I literally sat down to do the Immortal Kings dungeon for the Barb, and I did it first try without even reading anything about it.
Talrosh is that same way.
Yeah, I was just like this. Well, I didn't do the Talroshes because I didn't realize that the worms didn't show up on the screen.
Oh.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that there was worms. I'm like, why is there 4 mobs left? Where are these 4 mobs? And then I'm standing there and a worm eats me, and then I failed me, but I did it the second time. But the Barb one, without reading anything, without doing anything, I did it first try. And yeah, so I would just do that one over and over. Everybody roll a barb next season.
Well, I did the Marauders one first try, and it was also bullshit because one of the things is like let nothing into your melee range, and there are worms. I actually got eaten by a worm and still passed the dungeon. I'm pretty sure actually being swallowed by a ton of worms should count as melee range.
Yeah, that's probably right.
So I don't know. I guess I don't know feature bug or what, but that one was first try, and I've never done it since. So yeah, so we had before the season, I was thinking set dungeons might be kind of cool. Like, you know, before testing them on the PTR, I was like, oh, it seems kind of fun. It forced you to do a different set. You can have some different stuff going on. And now everyone's tried them, and everyone hates them. I think it's almost unanimous.
Yeah.
I meant to post a vote last week and never got around to it. I'll have to post that tonight or tomorrow.
It's just some of them. It's just like they needed a balance pass. It's like they came up with like these cool ideas. They're like, hey, wouldn't this be cool? And then like, but on the same time, I don't mind them being hard because like, I don't want everybody run. It's cool to have something that like not everybody has. Like not everybody's in those big green wings and whatever else it is. But yeah, some of them definitely need a balance pass. Just a little bit, a tweak or two.
Just a little bit.
Well, some of them are too easy.
Even if they were balanced and fun, you'd still never do them again, right? It would just be this thing for the the achievement once.
Yeah, I would get the wings and that would be it. I would never do them again.
I don't think it's even. I don't think Blizzard was like expecting these to be these replayable, awesome things. They just want to make us a one-time challenge. But most of us seem to think they need a little more balancing to be acceptable one-time challenges.
But it's not like they're not challenging. They're just tedious. It's tedious isn't challenging. It's you know, we're not like. It's not even like Dark Souls 2. That's challenging. Like, okay, I can go through here. I can do this. Like, you want to feel like you can do something as opposed to I'm going to feel like I'm going to smash my face against the monitor. Like that's a different feeling.
So last week's podcast was Nerdwords and Osmodius, and Oz was going on and on. The only one he tried with the Shadow Power one with the Demon Hunter, which is by far the most annoying Demon Hunter one. You know, by far. I mean, like infinitely most annoying. And I asked you guys rate them on 1 to 10, and Oz immediately said -10. And then, so I posted the podcast like Tuesday, right? Tuesday night I was on playing, and Oz is in the same clan as me, and he times out and dies in a 4-player game with his hardcore character. And of course I immediately say, obviously someone at Blizzard just listened to the last podcast.
Hit the like.
And Oz was like +1, which may or may not be the case. But he was the one person in this rift that timed out and died while everyone else was doing fine. And he's like, I had this weird sudden lag spike. I'm like, yep. Why I heard the podcast? Sorry, man. So. At the risk of suddenly finding your softcore characters become hardcore and it gets erased after you next die, because how could that happen? It must be a miracle. I wish you guys to rate set dungeons on a 1 to 10 scale, and negative numbers can be used.
Well, first of all, neither of us play hardcore, so
I say
your threat is
the risk of suddenly having your character turn into hardcore.
Oh.
Like it's a glitch on this matrix. Oh, now you're hardcore.
I'm trying to think. Well, for consistency's sake, whatever I said last week.
Well, you've done more testing since then.
You
said a 7 last
I actually
week.
haven't. Yeah, I mean, it's about the same. Like, I still think that they're a cool idea. I think that they're interesting. I think that they do change the gameplay, and they give you something else to do. I think my only downside to it is this is a part of the seasonal journey, and that you have to do it. Like, I'm okay with even, like, hey, do all of your classes' set dungeons. I don't like that I have to play another class and do all their set dungeons in order to complete the seasonal journey and get that third conquest.
What's your set dungeon score, Mugs?
I don't know. I give him probably a 5.
Okay, well, I guess you guys will both be not dying horribly in a mysterious fashion.
Yeah, I think my problem is more the fact that I just don't want to play another class more than I don't like set dungeons.
Well, we knew that before. I
know.
I mean, I don't mind playing the other class. It's just I don't like. It's one of those things. It's like beyond the endless game grind and the gear grind and the Paragon grind. It's like, when do I have time to like, sit down and like do these set dungeons and knock them out? And then I've got to, like Nerdword said, you got to start saving gear from, asking other people that you're playing with, hey, can you throw me some Witch Doctor gear? Can you throw me some Demon Hunter gear? Can you throw me some Crusader gear? So I can go and do these set dungeons. And it's just like, then you got to like, I don't know. They could be better. It'd be nice if you just went in there and they gave you a set. You're just like, hey, show up. Here you go. Now you're
I wish
this
I
class.
could just do the wizard set dungeons twice, and then I'd be stoked.
But, I mean, there's other conquests you can do, aren't there? You don't have to do the 8. Or no, you have to master 8 for the...
Yeah, you have to do 3. You have to do 3 conquests.
There's 4 conquests, and that's one of them.
I could do Sprinter, I guess. I didn't think about that.
No, Sprinter
finish the entire,
sucks.
all 5 acts in an hour.
Yeah.
but I
Splinter
feel like that would. But here's the thing, that would suck less than leveling and gearing a demon hunter and doing all 4 set dungeons.
But that's only for the final portrait, right?
Right, that's where I'm at though.
You finish 3 to finish the last.
Yeah, I could care less about that. I'm like, I got my stash space, and I was like, whatever.
You know what I could do? Okay, so pro tip: rather get a hardcore friend to power level you and get the Avaritia achievement on hardcore instead. That's what I'm going to do. I just changed my mind.
The Avarita in hardcore. It's avarice in softcore.
No, it's Avaritia.
Yeah, they spell it different.
It's
isn't there the do of 50 with 6 different sets?
55 solo versus 6 different class sets. Yeah, but that still requires to play a different class.
Yeah, but that's much easier than
45 with
another
no
set dungeon.
Fair enough. Yeah, basically I'm trying to find the easiest way to not have to play another class. So I'm thinking Sprinter or just cheesing a hardcore wizard through the Avarice achievement, or Avarice, whatever that thing is.
I think they consider playing other classes to be a perk, not a penalty. So
whatever.
Only nerd words. It feels like this is an onerous requirement.
I'm
just
can't being stubborn at this point.
And well, you should be.
As well, I should be.
Okay, so set dungeons are not actually growing on anybody. What if there was like 2 levels of them? I mean,
there are 2 levels.
So like currently, the ones that are super annoying and hard, that was like the expert level, and like that you got an extra bonus if you did all of them on expert level. But the easy one was like the easy versions of them.
But there is that now.
Obviously, counting on Blizzard to balance 2 different settings for each one is kind of insane, given that they couldn't do one balance.
But there is 2 balance. There is. There's there's do the set dungeon and master the set dungeon. So there already is 2 levels. You can do a set dungeon.
You got to do all the crap to get the bonus anyway.
Right. You can do the set dungeon, and you do all 8 set dungeons, and you get some wings that look like the collector's edition wings that are slightly green from the first collector's edition, and you get the green version of the pennant. And then if you master all the set dungeons, you get a pretty looking pennant for each class, and then you get those really big green wings. So there is already 2 levels. So you want 3 levels.
I don't look at wings. I don't know what you're talking about. That's not something that exists in my game. I just play with equipment, not fairy tale wings. It's not a brony convention.
You got to bring the bronies out.
Full circle.
Flutterby is not wearing your constant armor. What the hell they're called. Okay, any final thoughts, guys? Other than set dungeons suck?
No, I want to go grind.
Well, you've been doing it the whole podcast.
Yeah, kind of.
You can do it more seriously now. You can get on your Ventrilo and talk to all your little friends. Any final thoughts, Bugs? Are you ready? Are you still playing?
No, I'm not playing. I haven't played this entire podcast.
I don't mean the last 5 minutes. I mean, your triumphant podcast return. You've been on here for a few months. You had to go play just for that. Now you can quit.
Yes, now I can quit.
You can go back and play. You can play a real wizard in Heroes of the Storm.
Yes, I can play. I don't like Heroes of the Storm. But yeah,
a ranged attack.
I can play a ranged attack wizard that actually has fun and like kills stuff.
How many times have you done the vault this season?
Oh my!
A lot.
Kill greed for the gold.
So many times.
Every time I get a puzzle ring, I do the vault. I don't even save them. I just do it immediately the second I get a puzzle ring. So a lot.
Do you have friends that say, "Hey, T10 vault, 3 rifts, 3 spots open, join in now"?
Yeah, but I don't join them. I don't need that much gold.
So do a few more empowered 80s and you will, right?
Well, we don't power the 80s, but yeah, I mean, and plus, I mean, even when you're doing the 70s and 80s, you get a ton of gold. I'm getting like a couple million, 50 million gold or something stupid. I don't remember.
Yeah, but it costs $1 billion to do it empowered.
Well, that's you don't empower those, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. If I get below 10 billion, I stop empowering things and then I go back up.
Yeah, it's pretty low that way. How do you survive with that little gold?
I literally run it to 0. like I have like 680 million in it. I'll burn all that through my empowered rifts and then I'll save it back up again. I do it every time.
That's probably the better way to do it because there's like, what the hell am I saving it for? I tell myself all the time, I'm like, what am I saving this for?
You're just hoping the auction house comes back. You'll be all ready to go.
Just got to YOLO empower, man. YOLO empower. You got this.
Okay, guys, thanks for your time. You've been listening to the Diablo 3 podcast. We are online at DiabloII.net, and we will have a vote up this week where you can all come in and survey how much you hate set dungeons, or possibly like them if you're like nerdwords and nobody else. There'll be this like one vote for like, I like them. They're pretty cool. Everyone else is like hate.
And
Oz will vote twice, and his heart control will seriously die again for no apparent reason. Okay. Thanks for listening, and
moo. 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 Moo.